I'm going to lie to you if I say it's day 79, 80, 81 of lockdown in South Africa. I'm going to check and I'll put it up, but I don't know which day. It's been long. We've been in lockdown. We have different levels. We've got level 5, which is full lockdown, which was 21 days. After 2 weeks, it was extended for another 21 days. Then we moved into level 4, which is sort of like very restricted movement, more confusion. Then we went into level 3, which is also restricted movement, but not really, just adds more confusion. We are allowed to go to church, but we're not allowed to see our friends and family. I don't know, it's weird. I find it so confusing. There's stuff that we're allowed to do that doesn't make sense. There's stuff that we're not allowed to do that doesn't make sense. The Constitutional High Court of South Africa basically ruled that the government needs to go and reassess the regulations for level 4 and level 3, because there's a chance that we might actually go back into level 4, because the Constitutional High Court of South Africa feels that all the regulations that the government has put in, or not all, sorry, some of the regulations that has been put into place goes against basic human rights. It's a really confusing time. We really don't know what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. It is very cold in South Africa at the moment. I know that. I know that it's very cold. So we've experienced one of our coldest weekends this past weekend in a very long time. I'm like dressed, like puffed up and everything. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go anywhere anyway because it is so cold. I don't do well with the cold. I am absolutely a summer child and I'm battling. My nose is just like leaking the whole time. And yeah, we are sort of still working from home. Work hasn't really calmed down. So what I decided is I really need to get back into filming and posting on Instagram. So I've got 2 videos coming up, hopefully both this week. So one is where I paint and reorganize my bookshelves, and the second one is a vlog for the week. So I'm going to try and do a vlog for the whole week with my reading updates and everything that I'm doing. And like with all vlogs, I don't really know where this is going to go, but let's see. And this afternoon I am still working, so I'm going to get back to work now, and then later I've got a video call with Sandra, which I'm really excited about. I've got a bullet journaling update to do, so I might film that and then just continue reading and catching up with some reading, and I will chat to you soon and we'll see how it goes. Before we get going, let's do a quick reading update. Yes, I do have a tissue in my hand. Like I said, I really don't like the cold. I don't like winter. I'm a summer child. When it gets really cold like this, my nose decides that it is waterfall season and it just leaks. There's just no other way to describe it. It just leaks water the whole day. So I am on the edge of becoming the old lady with the tissue in the sleeve. I haven't done that yet, but I'm very close to it because I have to walk around with a tissue the whole time to just pat my nose because it just leaks the whole day when it's cold like this. And you can probably see it's like really red from the cold. It's numb. I almost can't feel my nose. That's how cold I am. But reading update. So I just finished Crown of Midnight, and yes, I know you told me so. I know everyone told me so. I must just keep continuing because book 2 gets better. I really like the series. I really like the characters. Funnily enough, I did not see the ending to this one coming. I knew she was what it's hard to describe this book without spoilers. I knew she was that. I didn't know she was that person, that character. I thought it was a separate character that would come later in the book. But I'm really enjoying it. Definitely will continue with the series. Thanks for everyone that said to me, just keep on reading. It gets really good. Right. Then I am rereading A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer, and the reason for my reread is because I finally have a copy of a Heart So Fierce and Broken. Sorry, I just had to recheck the title. I always get confused between the two. I like mix up the words and make my own title. Books, you know, right? So I'm rereading this one just so that I can like refresh my brain, and then I have added A Heart So Fierce and Broken to my Hogsmeade mini readathon for one of the prompts and on my July TBR as well. So very excited to do that. I forgot how calming and comforting her writing is. It just flows so smoothly. Absolutely still loving it just as much as the first time. Then I am also reading the third book in the Illuminate files, Obsidio, and I am there. I don't know, does that mean anything to anyone? Like, there. What is that about? I would say it's about 30%, probably, yes. I'm not gonna lie, so far this one might be my favorite out of all three of them. Everyone kind of said to me that they preferred book 2 to book 1, like book 2 was better for them. I didn't get that. That was not my experience. I loved book 1. Book 2 was good, but it wasn't better than book 1 for me. This one might be my favorite. I'll let you know how it goes. It could be, there's so many funny moments, it's so good, and unfortunately I think Amy and Jay has ruined me for any other sci-fi authors, because I tried to read a sci-fi by another author and it really didn't go well. I gave it like 1 star. I've got Obsidio on actual book, and then I've got A Curse So Dark and Lonely, I'm reading on my Kindle, and then I will be listening to, which one's the next one? Air of Fire. I will be listening to Air of Fire on audiobook and chat to you as we go. It's Tuesday morning, and I was complaining yesterday about it being so cold, and we woke up this morning to rain. Now, just to give you some context, in South Africa, we don't have rain in the winter. Winter is our dry season. Most of our rain we get in summer. So with it raining now, it is freezing, and I'm still walking around with my tissue and my dry nose and my red nose. So today is going to be really cold. I had so much planned for today, and I woke up at around 2. I woke up actually before Garrett came to bed. I normally wake up when Garrett comes to bed, because then he gives me like a little hug and a snuggle and I fall back asleep. So I woke up before he came to bed, and he came to bed, he said goodnight, and I never fell asleep again. So I've been up since 2. My brain is not switching off, and I'm just thinking about work, and I'm stressing about work, and I started thinking about everything that's going on in the world, and so I'm exhausted, and really I wanted to do a lot of stuff today, so I don't know what I'm going to get to today. I'm still going to try, but I am really, really tired. I have said that we might get snow. Now, rain is already weird for us in winter. Yeah, it doesn't snow in South Africa. But let's see what happens. If it snows, I'll let you know. I want a bullet journal today. I want to finish some orders today. I still haven't finished A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I think I've got an hour left of A Curse So Dark and Lonely. And I didn't really read any of Obsidio yesterday. I did have a really, really good chat to Sandra yesterday. I think we spoke for about an hour and 45 minutes or 2 hours, something like that. But yes, right now I'm just drinking my coffee and feeling my tiredness. Okay, so I got dressed. It's still cold, but I thought, let me do some stuff. I don't want we've got a banking holiday in South Africa today. It's actually Youth Day, and I don't want the whole day to go to waste. I would have loved just to lie on the couch and read, but I really had some stuff planned today, and I really wanted to do some of those things. One of the things that I had planned today is, because it's Youth Day and it's also June, it's Pride Month, I want to give you some recommendations from my personal library of queer books that I've read that I really enjoyed. And I think what's a little bit different is my go-to genre is historical fiction, contemporary fiction, and fantasy. And most queer books out there is young adult romance, and I don't read young adult romance at all. So the recommendations that I'm going to give you falls into the genres that I read, and I think that's a good thing, because I think a lot of people looking for recommendations are mostly finding young adult romance recommendations, and maybe this list will help those that like me also have got other genres that they're interested in reading that falls into the queer genre. So it is the 16th of June already, and I don't know when this video is going to be up, but I don't think this is applicable just for June, for Pride Month. I think these should just be books that should go on your TBR because they're really good books, and that is why I'm recommending them. So let's start. I did make a list, so let's get into the list. Alright. The first recommendation that I have is Sleight of Hand by Ilse van Rensburg and Jason Hess. Now, as you, I'm sure you can hear that this is actually written by two South African authors. It's a very quick read. There's nothing overly complicated about this. It follows our main character, Gwen. She's part of a secret organization or a secret service society. The setting is London 1926, if I'm not mistaken, and she is sent to investigate a set of murders, and she poses as a magician's assistant. Now, the book includes magical elements, demons, witches. It's very supernatural, and she meets a Demento and starts realizing that life is not really what she expected it to be, and the book takes her on this journey where she comes face to face with her feelings. So what she comes to terms with shakes her reality, it shakes up her world, but she and Demento also realize that the world might end if they don't do something about it. So like I said, it's a very quick read, it's a thin book. The next book I have is absolutely my personal favorite. It is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagan. I have spoken about this book on my channel before. I talk about this book on Bookstagram quite often. Sorry, I am still walking around with my tissue and my leaky nose. This book got me into young adult fantasy. I absolutely love this book. I think the world building in this book is amazing. The characters are extremely lovable and relatable, and the setting in this book is not like any other setting that we are reading about in any other books. It's not fae, it's not wizards, it's not magicians. There are different castes in this world, and you're either fully human, you're half human, half animal, or you're fully animal, if I remember correctly. And the queer element in this book is so natural. The main character is not defined by her queerness. The book is not about her queerness. Credit to Natasha also for there is violence and sexual abuse in this book, and it's not overly graphic. She did it really, really well. This is definitely one of the top recommendations from me, not just as a queer book, but also as a young adult fantasy. It is definitely a must read. The third book that I have is The Confession by Jessie Burton. This was my very first read for 2020, and I didn't know it was that it had queer representation, and this book made me cry. I absolutely love this book as well. I think I gave it 5 stars. It's on my list of books that touch my soul. And I can very easily compare this book to Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you liked Evelyn Hugo, the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, you would absolutely love this book. Yes, definitely has to go to the top of your TBR if you like historical fiction, contemporary fiction with queer representation. Okay, so those are the actual books that I have. And then I've also, on my list are some ebooks. So let's also go through those. Then I have The Deathless Girls by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. I do have a copy of it, but it's a unedited copy, and it is, I always thought it was a retelling of The Brides of Dracula, but it's not a retelling. It's actually the prequel to Brides of Dracula, and the main character is queer, and really well written, very enjoyable book. Then I've got This Is How It Always Is by Laurie Frankel. Now, I for a long while I could not stop talking about this book. This book was so beautifully written. It's got such a heartwarming story. Also one of those books that absolutely made me cry several times, not just once. And it follows a young boy. There's only boys in the house. He is the youngest of 4 brothers, if I'm not mistaken. So he's what we would call a laatlammetjie in the family. He is the youngest, and there is a bit of an age difference between him and his brothers. And the story follows where this little young boy doesn't understand why he has to dress as a boy when he wants to wear rainbow ties, he wants to wear denim skirts, he wants to wear fairy wings, he wants to wear dresses, and he wants to put makeup on, he wants to do his hair. And it's this whole family dynamic of, as a parent, you want to teach your child that you can be whoever you want to be. You can dress however you want to dress. But on the other side, going in and it's very relevant for today's society, going to preschool or primary school where other kids look at you as a boy and they tease you and they laugh because you're dressed as a girl, and still trying to teach your child that that's okay. There were some really sad scenes, but there were also some really lovely scenes there. It's written really well, and it's very, very much a book that should be on your TBR. So the next book that I have on my list is called One Half from the East. It's by Nadia Hashimi. And this book actually falls under sex and gender identity or gender non-conformity. And one of the first things I have to tell you about is this is a children's book. And this is the main thing that drew my attention to this book. And the story it's beautiful. It is absolutely adorable. It's about a character called Ubacha. And in Ubacha's culture, it's seen as good luck to dress up as a boy if you're a girl. And Ubacha's family has gone through tough times, and her aunt decides that it's time for Ubacha to bring some good luck to their family and to dress up as a boy. So Ubacha becomes Ubat. Then the second last book on my list is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a historical fiction, and I am a huge fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid. The representation in this book is brilliant. It is very much the defining moment for this character. It paints the picture, or it paints the future for her life and how she moves forward with this. It is also in a society where this isn't readily accepted or widely accepted, with her being a famous actress and being in the spotlight the whole time. It poses a lot of challenges in the year that is set in, and then how it develops the rest of her life and her relationships with other people. Then the last book on my list is my absolute favorite out of all of them. It is another historical fiction, and it is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. Now, I wish I could tell you the only reason that you should read this book is because John Boyne wrote it. Then I could end this part of the video, but if you haven't read John Boyne, that wouldn't make sense. Now, John Boyne is an absolutely phenomenal writer. This book is a Goodreads Choice Award winner. It was either 2018 or 2019, I can't exactly remember. The book is about Cyril Avery. Now, Cyril Avery has been told his whole life that he is not a real Avery by his adoptive parents. The book's set in Dublin, and it's also during a period of time where being gay or being queer was not the accepted norm. Especially for a man, you were basically beaten up and discarded from human society if you even hinted at something like that. And Cyril wants to actually go and find his real parents, and he also is in love with, I can't remember exactly if it was his best friend or his adoptive brother, but there was something very pure about the love that he felt for him, and it was really heartwarming. It tells the story where Cyril is from a very young age right up to where he's an old man, and I couldn't put this book down. And still today I talk about this book. If someone asks me for a really good historical fiction recommendation, I say The Heart's Invisible Fairies, because very, very well queer representation. There's a lot to be learned from this book. There were times in the book where I wanted to hug the characters and say, I'm so sorry that you have to go through this. It will be okay in the end. There were times when I wanted to shout at people and say, how can you be so horrible? How can people be so mean? But at the end of the day, it is a beautiful book, and it's definitely worth the read, and it's also on my list of books that touched my soul. I hope to read more John Boyne in future. So yes, that is my list. I hope that maybe you've found something that you can add to your TBR. That's it for this list. I will chat to you guys a bit later. It is Wednesday afternoon, it's like late afternoon-ish. Basically done with work for today, so I need to do some editing. If you are also a YouTuber or a booktuber, you'll know that editing is probably one of the things that is the least fun of having a YouTube channel. Editing takes long. It is sometimes a bit frustrating because you like really scrutinize all the errors that you made, and every time you and so your editing is not the fun part of having a channel, but the end result is quite satisfying, and obviously that's what you guys are here for. This is not something that I've ever done on my channel, and I don't know if this clip is going to make it into the video. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, well, this is what we're doing now. I didn't really sleep well last night again, and it was very, very much to do with our president's live nation address from last night. I'm going to get ready for work soon, but I thought let me quickly pop in here. So earlier in the week I mentioned that our government was preparing to come back to us to, well, they were supposed to re-evaluate level 3 lockdown. So they went and they re-evaluated level 3 lockdown. Level 5 is full lockdown. Level 1 is do what you want. I think for most people in South Africa, level 4 was do what you want. So they came back and they announced last night that we will remain in level 3, but with they call it additional enhancements. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's what they're calling it. So they mentioned stuff like sit-down restaurants will be reopening under conditions. Cinemas will be opening. I don't know why cinemas are opening. There are no new movies being released. I didn't understand churches being opening, but that's my personal opinion. Non-contact sport, very specifically golf and tennis. He was very specific about that. And then he mentioned some contact sport. I don't know how that would work. Oh, of course, the beauty industry, hairdressers, nails, body, things like that, which has been a huge fight for us in South Africa, because those are businesses that cannot claim UIF tours, that cannot work from home or remotely because their livelihood is going to the salon and touching people, basically. That led to him talking about businesses in the beauty industry being predominantly owned and predominantly employing women, female workers. And then he mentioned that alcohol will now also be on sale again. And this is where it got really hard to listen to him. He's mentioned this before, so this is not something new, but we have a problem in South Africa, and I don't think this is just in South Africa, but at the moment it has escalated in South Africa, where the men of South Africa is basically declaring war against women in South Africa, and it is in the form of violence against women and children. And I think the decision to open the beauty industry again, the government is looking at it from a point of view is to empower women again, so that women have got a platform to stand on again and not be so vulnerable and not feel so powerless. The other side of the coin is and I know this comes from the president directly, is that he has been fighting that the ban on alcohol continues, because alcohol is very much a big factor in violence against women, violence against men, violence against children. It's not the only problem, don't get me wrong, it's not the only problem, but it does play a very big role. Now, I'm gonna say this, whether you like it or not, if you cannot go a couple of weeks without buying alcohol, then you need to check yourself. Then you need to ask yourself, do I have a problem? Because arguing that alcohol is a basic human right, first of all, you need to go read up on what basic human rights are, what basic human needs are, because your alcohol is not important than people not being able to buy food or able to afford food or not having a blanket because it's cold. It's not a basic human right, in my opinion. I'm sorry. It's not a basic human need. Not in my opinion. Fact. It's not a basic human need. Get over your alcohol. So the president continued saying that as lockdown levels eased, as lockdown restrictions eased, the cases being reported of violence against women, child abuse, violence against children has escalated as we ease out of lockdown. And it's absolutely true, because we are part of a WhatsApp group in our area, and just 2 days ago, they said on the WhatsApp group that just in our area, there has been several cases reported in the last week of domestic violence. And they gave us resources. There's a hotline, there's SMS numbers, there is a community center that you can go to if you need assistance. And they also gave you guidance and tips of, while in lockdown, what you should do if there's an emergency, or if you feel threatened, or if your children feel threatened. Feels threatened? It's really early, I'm sorry. Things like, in an emergency, don't go to mutual friends. Now, to me, that is a really, really good point, because mutual friends are most likely going to say to you, you know what, he was just having a bad day. Just go back home. It will be fine. If it's sexual violence or sexual assault, our culture is you don't talk about stuff like that. That's a family matter. You don't discuss that with other people. It's no one else's business. I'm sorry, it's everyone else's business. What else did it say? Oh, have an emergency bag packed, so that if you feel under threat or your child feels under threat, that you can quickly go out of the house and go somewhere like a neighbor that you trust, that's not a mutual friend. There are several numbers that you can contact. I'm going to share the hotline number. I'm going to share the SMS number. There are several numbers for gender-based violence. There are several numbers for reporting child abuse. I'm going to include all of that. And I want to say to you, and I want to encourage you, and this is really coming from a place of love. If you are in this situation, and the stats are horrific, if you are in this position, please tell someone. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your children if there are children involved. There is always hope. There is always a way out. Now, I am not sitting here on my pedestal going, it's easy, just tell someone, or just leave him, or just get out. No, I was sexually abused as a child. Now, most of my followers know this. I am open about it on Bookstagram, because we talk about trigger warnings in books. So it's for those that do not know it. Yes, I was sexually abused as a child. Like I said, I'm open about it because I want to encourage other people and children that if this is happening to you, come forward. Now, when it was happening to me, and I'm talking more than 20 years ago, there wasn't social media. We didn't have social media. People were not educated. If I had gone to a teacher and told the teacher that this was happening, they would not have known what to do. It was a small community. I couldn't tell anyone because everyone knows everyone, and it would have probably just been swept under the rug. Okay, so I think as a parent, even if you just suspect, women have an intuition, and our intuitions are normally right. Like 99.9% of the time, our intuitions are right. Follow your intuition. Okay. What I want to say to women that are in violent, abusive relationships, marriages, and I personally know several. Please say something. Please seek help. You do not deserve that. That is not what God planned for you. And again, I know how hard that is. It's really hard. I was in a physical abusive marriage. Now, at the time, we had social media available, but it wasn't something that was talked about on social media because it was very early stages of Facebook. I don't think Instagram even existed. WhatsApp had just been released. We were still text messaging, stupid stuff like that. And I thought that this is the path that I had chosen for my life. This is a choice that I've made. No one forced me into this. So I need to stick it through, because you have to live with your choices. No, you didn't choose violence. You didn't choose abuse. You did not choose that. So I really, if you are going through that, please seek help. I'm not telling you, go pack your bags tonight or leave this weekend. I am encouraging you to ask for help, because there is help out there. I was really lucky that I told someone and there were people around me that helped me. It didn't happen immediately. It took a couple of years, but I did get out. And I almost, it's so hard. It's the hardest thing that you have to do, and again more so if you have children. And I almost went back, because you change your whole life. It's not just going and staying in a hotel for a night or two. Your whole life changes. A lot of people say they stay because of children. You're doing your child more harm than protecting them, because your child's growing up in that environment. And is that what you want for your child? I know that sounds harsh, and I don't have children, but I was a child, and that's not something that I grew up with. I had the other side of the spectrum. I personally wouldn't raise a child in that environment. There's other ways around it. But it's hard. It's really hard. And that's why there are educated people nowadays that can help you. There are community centers that have got professional, educated people. I think I've said everything that I wanted to say that was really heavy on my heart this morning. I didn't really want to start the day like this, but this is not something that can be swept under the rug. It's something that we should be very verbal about. Times have changed, and you do not need to go through it alone, and you do not need to stay in that situation. You do not need to accept it, because it's not the norm and you do not deserve that. I need to go get ready for work now, and I'm sending so much love to everyone out there. The narratives out there are so important at the moment. I just don't feel like this one is less important. And I really hope that you are keeping well and that you're keeping safe, and that the president used the right words. We're not just fighting a viral pandemic, we're also fighting this violence against women, gender-based violence, child abuse pandemic in our country. And I wanted to say something about that this morning. I love you all. I'll chat to you later. So I've always wanted a chair for my bedroom. I finally bought one, and it's been sitting in the car for a couple of days now because goodies. So I think it's time to unpack it and assemble it. I think it looks pretty good. So now that I have a chair, let's do a unboxing. I have got the... And now? What is going on? He's crying because he wants to come in and I closed the bedroom door. Shame. I think this is... What month is this? Oh, this is April. There has obviously been some delays with the pandemic, which is completely understandable. I also skipped one of the months. I think I skipped the May box, which I don't even feel it because the March and the April one was so delayed, and then the June boxes are back on track. So I received this one a couple of days ago, and I'm probably going to receive the June one pretty soon as well. So I didn't even feel like I really missed out on the May one. I am really excited about this one, so let's start and see what is in here. Okay. It was hard to miss spoilers on Instagram. Mine was also delayed because of reasons in South Africa. So I have seen some of the items in this box. Okay. So here is spoiler card, and the theme for April was memories. There we go. So I'm going to put this there, like that. Okay, then we've got wiggly worms, wiggly worms, wiggly worms. And this is a tote bag. Oh, people are raving about this tote bag, and I can totally see why. So at the front, it says the Court of Terracin. And this is obviously a throne of glass. It's my tote bag. I forget box names when I do videos. I don't know why. I'm normally so good at it. And then the bag says, so they can, let me read this properly, so they can look up at the sky no matter where they are, and no terracin is forever with them. Sarah J. Maas. This is a really, really nice tote bag. It is super, super strong. It is not flimsy at all. Oh, and it's got a square bottom. That's pretty cool. Let's see who made this beautiful one. Okay, I'm going to move this here so that it is readily available. Inspired series, we're in love with the terracin tote bag featuring two-sided design. Fantastical feminism. So fantastical feminism design, that one. And then we've got a whole bunch of little items. So I think this is washi tape. Ooh, it's all, yes it is. So let's see. Washi tape. It's all like shimmery and glittery. That's really nice. Washi tape is inspired by, it says it is inspired by a fantastic series by Leonie Taylor and designed by Till and Dill. Okay, I assume then it is inspired by Strange the Dreamer. It just says a fantastic series. Okay. From my understanding, all her books are fantastic. Okay, then we've got emoji sticky tabs. That's quite cute. See, is that even focusing? Not really. There we go. Very, very cute. Oh, I can know what this is. Oh, that's very, very cute. So a memory vial pin designed by That's Lovely Dear Shop. An enamel pin. There we go. That is super cute. I've never really been into pins, just sort of because I've never really seen the point, and now I'm starting to collect so many from book boxes that it's sort of become a thing for me as well. I don't know what I'm going to do with all of them. Okay, very cute little pin. Then, okay, there's a big box in here, but there are some smaller items. Okay, this is the continuation of the Throne of Glass tarot cards. That is the Six of Cups, and we've got the Five of Cups. Now I don't think I'm that far in the series yet to know these characters. They don't seem familiar. I don't know if this is Dorian. If anyone knows, they can tell me. This looks like it might be Dorian. And then we've got a box here. Oh, I forgot about this. Okay, there's one little item still in here. Oh, that's very cute. that is the pin flag. I love the design. That's very, very nice. And now I actually have somewhere to put all my pins, and it can hang somewhere. That's very nice. Who was this done by? Let's quickly have a look. This exclusive Saint Germain pin banner is inspired by The Beautiful by Renee Abdi, and it is designed by the lovely Dust and Pages. Okay. They're not yet given this one. I'm so excited. So Secret Book Volume 3. Now, I don't have any of these, and I have been wanting one for so long. And from what I remember, the design is absolutely gorgeous. Can I just show you that? That is so beautiful. Wow. Fairyloot always outdo themselves with packaging. Okay, apparently I can't get this open. I just tore the box. Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay, so that is the front and the side. And then there's a quote inside by George R. Martin, J.R.R. Tolkien, and Tahira Murphy. There's Sarah J. Maas, J. Christoph, and Susan Collins. And then, so the quotes, and there's some, let me just check if you can see, there's some illustrations on the inside. Really, really nice. I love this. And I think this was one of the main reasons I actually got the April box. So that's very nice. I'm just going to pop this over there. Okay, and then I think we are getting to the book. I don't think, let me just double check that there isn't. Okay, so this is the book. And what else is in here? Okay, let's do this. The author letter with the art print. So that's the author letter at the back. And we've got our fairy scoop. And at the back of the fairy scoop was the May theme announcement. So let's have a look. So the book is Incendiary by Zoraida Cordavo. And then it shows you, like always, I always love this touch, is it shows you your new exclusive copy of Incendiary, the standard edition versus the Fairyloot edition. Now it looks like the standard edition of this specific edition is red and this one is sort of blue. The edition that I saw on Goodreads and out there on Instagram is really, really pretty. I was really hoping that that is the edition that comes in the box. Just personal preference, I really, really like that cover. But let's see what this one, all the little magical things that this one has. Oh, and then, of course, the beautiful monthly Fairyloot bookmark. So we've got the front of the book. That is absolutely gorgeous. It's not ugly. I just have a personal preference towards the other cover, the more well-known cover. So it reads at the back, I am Renata Convida. I have lived 100 stolen lives. Now it's time to live my own. So Convida sounds almost like the author's surname. It's actually not. The author's surname is Cordova. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Beautiful red sprayed edges all the way around, and signed as well, like proper signed. Very, very nice. And Fairyloot always goes all out with their dust jackets, artwork on the inside of the dust jacket. It's really, really pretty. And there's a spine. There you go. It's also like shiny red. Very, very nice. Overall, really, really love the box. I am very rarely disappointed in the Fairyloot boxes. For the most part, 99% of the time, I am extremely happy with Fairyloot. I also want to give a very special shout out to the whole Fairyloot team, because whenever I have a question or I have an item missing in a box, they are super helpful. I get an email response within 48 hours. Everyone that you deal with is just friendly and wants to help you. You're not brushed off. So I just want to give a shout out to the customer service at Fairyloot as well. I have been a Fairyloot subscriber for, this is my 4th box if I'm counting correctly, and I plan to be a Fairyloot subscriber for a while still, unless something major changes. And I am excited to bring you next month's unboxing, hopefully pretty soon.